Hello, you guys, it's Miss Martinez. I'm going to read you guys a book today. It is a biography. Remember that we know that biographies are books that are written about a real person. Okay, this book is a story of Tyree Guyton and his art. Okay, so I want you to be thinking about if this is a nonfiction or a fiction book. If we know it's a biography, okay, I hope you guessed nonfiction. And I want you to be thinking about why the illustrator, we'll do a book walk really quick. Why did the illustrator use fiction pictures? Okay. Why do you guys think that? I'm going to read you guys the back summary because I know y'all like to read those. So it says, Tyree Guyton loved his childhood home. That's where his grandpa Sam taught him to paint the world. He decided to use art to make people wake up and see Detroit's crumbling communities. This is his story. Okay, I'm going to ask that you guys pause the video at some points to think of some things about the story. It may be during the book or it may be at the end, okay? So keep that in mind. While you guys are hearing me read this, I'm going to try to get rid of this glare that's on the book. I'll do my best. But I want you guys to be thinking about the author's purpose. Why do you think the author wrote this? Why do you think the author titled it Magic Trash? Because magic is usually something that we use that's positive, right? It's mysterious, it's exciting. But trash is a negative word, usually, right? And I want you guys to think of the theme, the message, okay? What do you think the author is trying to tell you with this book? All right, let's see if I can move this camera, make it easier for you guys to see the book. Here we go. A winter chill whooshed down Heidelberg Street. Young Tyree Guyton buttoned his coat. Pop! His last button flipped into the gutter. He dove after it, then dug through frosty leaves. He pried a popsicle stick from the ice. He hoisted a bicycle wheel off the curb. He scooped up a baseball cap buried in the snow. Pockets clanking, Tyree darted home. A home on the east side of Detroit that already bulged with 10 children. Shop around, Tyree sang along with the radio as he unloaded the day's finds. His mama didn't earn enough money sewing and cleaning to buy new shoes, much less bikes and balls, so he zapped fun into amazing junk that others tossed away. Popsicle sticks became boards to build a house. The cap soared like a rocket ship. The wheels bounced, spokes jumping, dots danced. Let rockets fly, boards tower high, bounce, jump, and dance. Magic trash. Whoops. Tyree barely heard the thump-thwack of his brother's games while he dreamed up designs. In school, he sat alone, drawing pictures. When his report card arrived, his aunt asked, "Is Tyree dumb?" "Maybe crazy," his mama whispered. So does his aunt or his mom have any confidence in him? Doesn't sound like it, right? Doesn't sound like they're very encouraging. Then one sunny day when Tyree was 9, so y'all's age, it says his grandpa Sam, a house painter, plopped a brush into his hands. "Paint the world," Grandpa said. Tyree dipped into Grandpa's cans of color, sloshing purple, slapping yellow, aiming his brush like a magic wand. Abracadabra. Tyree's shyness vanished. Sweet apples crunched when he glopped the red. He'd never seen Lake Huron, but now it splashed in a pool of blue. "Like new," Grandpa said of a glistening ladder. Tyree smiled and swirled a shade of green. Other kids on his street giggled and razzed. "Look at his green face. Ha! Green junk." Still, as Tyree zoomed from bent bottle caps to rusty wheels, Grandpa Sam's words twirled in his head. So it sounds like he's not letting anybody get in the way of his dream. "I'm going to be an artist," Tyree said. His mama hung her head. "That's not a job." He peered into Grandpa's twinkling eyes. Tyree clenched his brush. He would be an artist. Yes. Brush greens and blues on wheels and shoes. Slosh, slap, and splash. Magic trash. I love this picture, you guys. I love how the illustrator did that. Okay, now look at this picture. So we can already see that his community is changing, right? At age 12, so A few years later, Tyree squinted into spiraling smoke as National Guard tanks rolled down nearby Mount Elliott Street. All his life, neighbors had raced out of town to live in new suburbs. Now some who had stayed exploded in rage, like shaken bottles of Verner's ginger ale. Tyree gawked, teeth chattering. Rioters were burning buildings in his neighborhood. I want you guys to think back when we talked about, when we were learning about Black History Month, and we talked about Martin Luther King Jr. and how he led peaceful protests. Sounds like these rioters did not practice that same way of protesting. If they're burning places down, I wonder if things would have been different if they took a different approach. When he grew to be 16, Tyree too left the shapes and hues of Heidelberg Street to seek a new life. He marched as a soldier. He inspected cars in a factory. He doused fires as a firefighter. But he never forgot about painting his world. So he enrolled in art school to learn more about colors, lines, and designs. At last, Tyree bolted back home to Heidelberg. When he returned, though, his street had changed. Houses sat deserted, creeping with spirits of owners who had run away from the neighborhood. Tyree tripped over trash, lots of trash, and troublemakers lurked. They snuck into hollow houses. They even set fire to one. Woo, spirits whirl, new troubles swirl. Kick, burn, and hurl magic trash. No, cried Tyree, not on this street. His mama still lived in the same home. Grandpa Sam painted pictures and sighed now. I want you guys to pause and think about, why do you guys think Grandpa Sam paints inside now? Why doesn't he go outside and paint the world like he used to? Maybe because it's too dangerous. He doesn't want to get hurt. Tyree grabbed his brush and burrowed through rubbish. He cast spells on suitcases, toilets, and a slide trombone. Before the colors dried, Grandpa Sam hurried out to help. They painted a busted bus. They tied shoes to trees. They flung broken bikes and cast off tires on burned out buildings and forgotten yards. And they painted faces of God in blue, black, and orange. Their street sparkled. That's a big difference, you guys, than what it was. Look at that. Oh, I love these pictures. When trouble still sizzled when in one discarded home, Tyree coated it in dots and squares of pink, blue, yellow, and purple, then perched a magenta watchdog on the porch. Dopey, dealing thieves hustled from its view, chased away by bright paint and barking trash. Tyree named one home Dotty Waddy and another Funhouse. Spying hungry, crying children, he dangled broken baby dolls on telephone poles and rooftops. Dolls sobbed with each puff of wind. Maybe now others would see. What do you think he wants them to see, you guys? I want you to think about that. How do you think he views his community? Bright colors flash, scared dealers dash. Bark, cry, and swing, magic trash. Some people squawked about the garbage. A few neighbors complained to the city. The mayor and his helpers stomped. Soon bulldozers roared up to the project to crush every doll and board. "You can't do that," yelled neighbors as dust swooped to the treetops. "Get out of here," others screamed. "Tyree's trash is beautiful." Tyree scrambled to snatch a few pieces. "This is my art," he cried. But the dots and stripes and baby dolls lay bashed and smashed and still. Tyree rubbed his eyes. Grandpa Sam poked at piles. Old houses talk. Some neighbors squawk. Crash, bash, and smash. Magic trash. I hope you guys can see the pictures very good. Art had filled Tyree's and Grandpa Sam's lives. Now, 93, Grandpa Sam had grown too old to help. "Never stop painting," Grandpa said, squeezing Tyree's hand. I love that the author painted this picture of him and his grandpa, you guys. And they added this decoration. That's what I mean whenever we write our stories. And I tell you guys, use your own, put your own spin on it. And he added his hand in there. Put your own author's craft in there, you guys. It says, and then Tyree stood alone with brushes, paint, and trash. So I'm making an inference that if on this page he was with his grandpa and they were explaining how his grandpa's old And now he stands alone. His grandpa probably passed away, right? Okay, let's see what he's gonna do. Because remember, his grandpa was the only one that believed in him, right? It says he wasn't alone for long, though. We can help, neighbors called. Your colors and dots chased away those thieves. Together they shoveled, swept, and hauled in new trash. Then, after 8 years of painting and rebuilding, neighbors heard wreckers screech a second time. Faces of God watched while the city crushed 2 more houses. No, Tyree yelled. Tyree and his neighbors were hopping mad. This street is ours, they said. We'll never quit. They marched downtown to tell their story to a judge and jury. The city argued that Heidelberg Street was a garbage dump. No, decided the court. It is art. Tyree's work survived. So they kept going and they won this time. They weren't gonna bulldoze it down. The next day, Tyree and his neighbors began anew, aiming their brushes like magic wands. Children sang as they hammered and spattered designs. Even former troublemakers returned, ready to rake, sweep, and build. United by trash, they cast a spell on the street, brightening their home for good. Okay, so we know what united means, right? That's one of our cub words, unity. And I want you to see how the author, see if I can get in there where you can see how the illustrator added a nonfiction picture of some trash, right? All right. Word of Heidelberg Street, let's see if I can get this where you guys can see. Word of Heidelberg Street spread far. It blazed across the air. Folks from Canada, Kenya, and Japan scurried to the neighborhood. They stared. Wow, look at that. Tyree waved his brush. Welcome. Look how the author has been putting these little newspaper clippings everywhere, just randomly, right? On these people's shirts. That's interesting. That's part of this craft, you guys. In a warm breeze, dots danced. Gleaming cast-offs jangled and jumped. Let rockets fly. Boards tower high. Bounce, jump, and dance. Magic trash. The end. I want to read you guys, oftentimes when there's a biography or it is a nonfiction book, they give you some sort of blurb. Remember, whenever we're reading those books about the animals, and in the back they had some facts. Well, this is the author's note. So this is a piece that he wanted to add in there, you guys, and he added in real pictures. So that is really Tyree Guyton right here. Right here, that's his art. And look at this house, you guys. Look how cool that looks. So it says Magic Trash is based on the life and art of painter and sculptor Tyree Guyton. In 2011, the Heidelberg Project celebrated its 25th anniversary. Tyree continues to work on Heidelberg Street and travels internationally to lecture and assist with installations of community art. And then it says you may visit the Heidelberg Project in Detroit or view Tyree Guyton's art in museums. All right, so let's talk about some stuff, you guys. I want you to think about, what do you guys think the author's message is here? What's the theme? Why did the author write this story? Okay, so I want you to pause and I want you to think about that for a second. Okay, I'll show you guys the cover. Okay, I hope you said something like art can bring change to the world, right? Communities can become united and come together to make their community better, right? So that's probably what our author was trying to tell us. Ordinary people can do extraordinary things. So you don't have to be someone that has a lot of money. You don't have to be someone with a talent. All he did, you guys, was take trash and he just made his community brighter to where people wanted to live there, right? Because he was talking about how criminals were coming into a city and they were burning things down. And so he made things beautiful and people didn't want to, take it down anymore. I want you to think about what type of connections, you guys, can you make to, so we made a connection to Martin Luther King Jr., right? About how they peacefully protested in his, where he was, and how they didn't do that here, right? But I want you guys to think about if you make any connections to your own life. Okay, so I want you to pause, maybe talk with your mom or your dad, your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your grandma, your grandpa. What type of connections can you guys make in your own lives? Okay. All right, my last question. I want you to think of, why do you think the author titled this book Magic Trash? Okay, because we know that magic is something mysterious and it's cool and exciting, and trash is, well, it's trash, right? And I want to go back to this one book. Let's see. Oh, I love this. Okay, listen to how the author words this. He says, the next day, Tyree and his neighbors began anew, aiming their brushes like magic wands. Children sang as they hammered and spattered designs. Even former troublemakers returned, ready to rake, sweep, and build. United by trash, they cast a spell on the street. Okay, so whenever we write next time, I want you guys to think of your title and how you can incorporate that into your writing. So he explained how their paintbrushes were magic wands and they cast a spell in the city. Okay. All right, I hope you guys like this book. It's one of my favorites. You guys can do more research on Tyree Guyton if you want to, if your parents allow you to and watch you do that. I want you to sound off in the comments. Tell me if you like this book. What do you guys think the theme was? Tell me why you think the author titled it Magic Trash, okay? Make sure you're appropriate and you're nice in the comments, just like you guys were on Flipgrid, okay? I miss you guys. I love y'all so much, and I will get another book ready for you guys, okay? Bye, y'all.